Alright, I am back for round 3 today. I don't know how much free time I'm gonna have with, got a baby coming in April and we're in the process of buying a house, so, I figure I should kind of get this stuff on the road while I've got the time to do it. Alright, here's our buddy Zio. Let's find all the dialogue here. Right, this is incredibly short in the, default, original version of the game. All he says in the original, well, you made it here, is to be expected. You should be aware that one step further is the road to your death. I won't let you escape this time. Oh, reverent one, lend me power. And that's all we hear from Zio forevermore. So, I figured, that this could be a slightly longer exchange. I think it's a little anticlimactic. Especially after he's killed, Alice. And, to have no back and forth here. I'm surprised they didn't put something in the original. So, I just kind of infer that because he feels like the black wave and everything, that he could feel her dying. So, just make you, want to hate him even more. That line, she prayed for death and it found her. That's also from Metal Gear Solid, Gray Fox's death. And, her last breath is a OC remix, Phantasy Star 4 old OC remix. Yeah, and he's angry and he's starting to take charge, of the party and everything. So this is the big, part of the big revelation that came out in this developer interviews a couple years ago in a fanzine called Phanta. I linked to it on the project page, that PS4 psiv.gamesdonlegit.com. So that's Zio's story. He was an Esper, and he, kind of at this point in the game, I didn't want to reveal the whole story, but they banished him, and so Rune and him knew each other very well, and I can't believe this isn't even in the game. They were basically like it was too last minute to implement, is what they said, but literally we didn't have to do anything crazy, just put a couple lines in here and then a couple lines toward the end of the game. So, Rune would be pretty angry too, he really, he really loved Alice, and, he knew this guy personally, so. Yeah, so the developer interview mentions that they were, in fact, rivals. And, Rune's got a he's got a pretty unique personality. He is not Lutz, so you could see him kind of, needling this guy, and, this guy kind of having, Zio having too much of it and choosing to face his weakness in a different way, a way like Lashik did in Phantasy Star 1. Yeah, so that whole exchange, not in the script, it's just that one little quick paragraph, and which always really surprised me. And then you never learn anything about Zio. You never, outside of him being, possessed. Even in Phantasy Star 1, the manual, has backstory for Lashik. That he was like a just king, and gradually he turned to evil, and people don't know what his deal is. So I did some leveling up here, off camera. I don't remember if Gawad or Hune is more effective, so let's find out. Let's give him more cry. Crosscut obviously with him, and let's do a Sanner. You always want to out agility, and that doesn't. Sanner never seems to wear off, unlike Force Field and Devin. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, idiot! I gotta use the Psycho Wand. I've done this before. Wasted an entire turn at the beginning of the game here. Done this before. Use Psycho Wand. Defend. And at least Rika can do a Devend. That's why we use it the first turn. Let's take care of that real quick. Sorry, Demi. No one else can do their thing. Still pretty scary looking, isn't it? This boss music is awesome, by the way. I don't know how much damage he's gonna do with his other attacks, so. Oh, I can use a Phantasy. Yeah, see, some might have killed him. Oh, I gotta use Phantasy. That wasn't too bad though. It's a force field. Let's go one more turn without force field. Well, you know what? Let's use it now. Gilwatts. Items to use? I don't think so. Everything else is okay. 28. Well. Okay, heal time. Let's use a hewn. Everyone else is pretty much okay. So Rika needs a double slash. I usually use Rika as primary healer since she's so fast. Oh my god! I don't think I have another repair kit. Even in this game, she can't stop paying attention. And I never got to use, jeez. I never got to use her Phantasy. Yeah. See over. Slash. Well, that sucks, huh? Oh my god! Might be not airing this one. We'll see. Alright, he should go after Rune. Let's hope this works. Oh my god. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, we got these star mists I can burn if I need to. This attack's good. Who's better for heals? Let's use the Trimate. Let's go crazy. So you can just attack now. Get res Rune. Let's double slash. Jesus, man. God. Moondew revives you too, but it's so crappy. How was he going before Rika? At least that worked out. Okay, back to business. Only magic seems to work on him, so... Trimate. Out. I never really, I don't use many items in this game. Of course, when I'm doing this stuff on stream is when it seems to matter. The most. Okay, no. Oh, you know what? Attack and just get res, because she's still Sanard. I'm gonna beat him. Oh, well. Sorry, Demi. You're leaving the party anyway. It's a good thing I leveled up. Rune just got, Rever. Okay. Yeah, same thing. Why did you abandon me? Yeah, it's exactly the same. Same line. Yeah, instead of exclaiming Alice with an exclamation point, which doesn't really make sense. You know, he should be they should just both and I just added that ... same. Because they know this is what their goal, but they can't bring her back. Nothing interesting here. Here I am. Yeah, so there's no reason to change any of this dialogue. Oh yeah, so yeah, so in the original she's just like, why don't we go? So, you know, I felt like this should be a little bit of a stronger reason. Be like, you know, she's like, in the original, it's like, let's go on a stroll together, practically. Like, oh, Chaz, why don't we go? So, you know, to keep you, the player, you know, aware that, you know, the planet's still in danger, and, you know, kind of more formally ask this big thing, you know, they're gonna leave their planet behind to go, you know, to do all this. So, you know, instead of just being like an RPG and be like, let's go do this, you know, life-changing thing and save the world, I just figured, you know, they should I don't know, talk about it a little bit more. Yeah, and again, there's not a lot of character development between Rudy and Rika, so you know, that was another quick place to reiterate that, you know, they like being around each other. Yeah, so pretty close, almost same line. Yeah, just to make it a little more dramatic, added an ellipsis there. And I don't know if you know, but in the Japanese, all the Rens are different. When I first played the game, when I first played Phantasy Star 4, I thought it was the same Ren, because he looks the same as Phantasy Star 3. You know, no matter, you know, how Ren would have got off the, you know, Alyssa 3 and, you know, back to the Algol solar system, you don't know, but whatever. Yeah, so all the Rens are different, and because, you know, Japanese is, characters are shorter, and that's why in Phantasy Star 3 there's a Siren who's kind of like a rival, but he's not a player character, so he could have his full name in the English translation, which is Siren, and the Ren in that game is Siren. So in this game, his name is Foren. Yeah, and again, to have Rika kind of, you know, specifically ask for Rudy, you know, to accompany her, you know, I figured was just a good thing. Oh, actually, that line's in the middle. Please, Chaz, let's go find Ren at Zelen. They're pretty much the same, so that was already here. That's good. Yeah, and then they're not gonna, you know, they as characters they know they might never see him again. So instead of Grizz just leaving with exactly sorry, you know, I figured wish them a little, you know, wish them well, and you know. Rune's been pretty quiet, so like he should say something. And you know, this is him starting to cede, you know, leadership of the group, you know, to Rudy. This is kind of the start of that, I think. Oh yeah, see, it's just what I was thinking. Yeah, so I wanted to, you know, comment on that a little bit and foreshadow a bit. You know, and obviously Rune wouldn't want to talk about it because it doesn't matter, you know, at least at this point. Yeah, and then having, you know, more of a, let's go, some dialogue I thought would be good. And just making sure I didn't miss anything. Here we go. Spaceport music. So awesome. You know, it's very, you know, it's an RPG soundtrack, very different than, you know, an Enix or a Square game. Sega music just kicks ass. You know, it's just different. It's just a different, you know, different emotions that the Sega soundtracks, I feel like, stir in you. Here we go. I'll bring up this dialogue, which I didn't change too much, but you know, I did feel a need to a bit. Goodies. Goodies. Plasma field. Awesome The Scrambler, it took me a long time to kind of figure out what this did. And basically, if you don't pick it up, you can't go to the next location. That's really about it. Alright, so Rune gets another field. It's possible in the original he was not able to equip that. Again, I can't remember which shields I enabled the magic users to now use. Yeah. I really like that Rudy comments like, wow, you're huge! Just right when meeting him. So I figured Ren should have something to say about that. Yeah, so I don't know if the Ren, because in Japanese, again, you can't tell if with proper nouns if they should be, they would be in all caps or they would be spelled normally. So I figured the REN should really stand for something, and kind of like, but instead of just being like their designation, but I don't really know. So I just decided to do that. Yeah, and there are other Rens in the game, like the Siren, like 386 or whatever, those guys, but they're not. I was like, well, they're not. Sentience is not the right word. They can't. We'll just say they can't make their own decisions. That's what I came up with. So he's the last decision-making android of his model type. So he's the last one. So he can be the only Ren, and that's why he's Ren. Control. Oh, so they were originally called androids in this, not cyborgs, so that's good. Yeah, so I thought it'd be funny if he comments again, like, about why everyone's so interested in his height. And introduce Ronin Rhodey. That is a good, does have a nice ring to it, I think. Yeah, and again, another opportunity for them to have a more, get a better picture of their relationship. Instead of just saying whatever, like he does in the original. Yeah, so then, look at her. She's having she's smiling and having a great little time there. So she's used to their bickering by now, I think. So back to the main story, dialogue. Yeah, instead of saying that's right, I try to make sure the androids don't. Well, at least Ren doesn't really use contractions, just to make him more, like an isolated robot. At least Demi was on Motavia, where there's people. He's only had Rika to talk to. Correct. I think I was thinking about the computer at the beginning of Star Trek 4. Correct! We have no control at all. Yeah, so originally Zelen is losing power. I'm not I think this was from the translation or whatever, but it doesn't seem like it's losing power is not the problem. It's losing its control, over the other, the other, climatrol and whatever, everything in the system that it's supposed to be controlling. Yeah, and originally it says somebody has occupied Kirin and usurped our control. Like, he wouldn't really know, how would they know that, like, a singular person has done that? So, I mean, they don't really know the cause of this, so I changed the language to reflect that. Incommunicado seems like a strange choice of words for her, so I changed it there. Yeah. Just felt like this is more of an Android phrase. If it is not objectionable, instead of is it okay with you? Yeah, and I thought it's important that he reiterate that they want to go there. That's not really clear, and I mean, I know he said like this means we have to go to Kiran, but I just thought that made a little more sense. Yeah, those are original lines. Yeah, instead of "we're my teachers," yeah, I just changed that a little bit. Now, this current situation was brought by my lack of power, is what he says originally. Power? Like, that doesn't quite fit his, like, personal power. But control, you know, their level of control is what seems to make more sense. Yeah. He's gonna move on. So just slightly change that. Yeah, and again, instead of just saying, well, like, let's see you do better, you know, figured it'd be a more Rune way to say that. Be like, hey, well, let's see you lead, little buddy. Yeah, so I just wanted to, you know, add to their little banter here. Yeah, and saying, instead of saying, what's going on here with Ren? I thought this would be a more Ren thing to say. Probably should have had an exclamation point there, actually. Alright, do we have other stuff? Yeah, we got the laser already. Order. Let's get the big guy out there. Yep. Stuff is good. And let's go to a new place. Or are we? Okay. A few changes in the dialogue here, but not much. No good. Instead of that's bad, I just thought it's just funnier to say no good. Yeah, I just made his dialogue a little more villainy. Horsefield. Nice to have that back again. Sanner, even though this is a pretty easy fight. It's never good to take chances. Saw what happened with me fooling around at the Zeo fight. Oh, I don't think we need Devin. Just get this, get on with it. Yeah. This is a nice excuse for the game to just give you a bunch of free experience, basically, for the next part of the game. Yeah, so again, just adding a little more character, you know, to their interactions. Look at how pissed look at how pissed Rudy jazz. Look at how mad he looks there. So, you know, some dialogue to reflect that. That was a little bit better. Well, we survived this. Some Transformers the movie. Originally, I had your Tandle magic, but then you don't have Tandle until like later in the game. So I was like, oh, that's perfect with all the lightning, electricity, and everything. But can't do it yet. He doesn't have that spell yet. So yeah, yelling at him for not applying self-control. You know, you get the gist of what that line means, but you know, it's just kind of strange. Yeah, so more in just telling him to shut up, you know, telling him what he did wrong, you know, and Ren cleaning it all up. Yeah, and I try to make him not use exclamation points too, because he's a lot more analytical and like robotic than Demi is. COA course of action. Jeremy Blaustein invented that phrase for Metal Gear. Yeah, I just made up a number, you know, because he's a robot. Shall we try? I love that in the original script. Shall we try? So I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. I do like Pray for a Miracle as an option in games. It's in both Earthbound and Guardian Heroes, and it actually works in both games. Yeah, so I just added that rune line here. Yeah, and she is that excited, so she's read a lot of, you know, books, or the equivalent of books, so I figured that's why she's so excited. Something she's like read about. She's left to tell her story, Hamilton. Yeah, so this line, the original line is supposed to be, the final line is, you should endeavor not to let your blood pressure become too high. The line, their translated prototype line is, the adrenaline concentration in your blood will rise if you get too excited. So it's not the blood pressure, it's the adrenaline. And adrenaline, you know, can make you make, you know, panicky bad decisions. So that's what the line is supposed to say. It's not supposed to be like, watch your blood pressure. So I added why he's saying that. So instead of just relax, you know, give him a reason to relax. You know, that Rune is, you know, reiterate Rune is kind of connected to like a higher power, or, you know, he's got some kind of connection to, you know, the energy of the solar system. Yeah, so, you know, instead of saying, why are y'all looking so unconcerned, you know, thought this was a little bit funnier. And he did use an exclamation point there. Might be the only one in the game he uses. Zorus, which is the original name in Phantasy Star 1. Obviously, there's no answer when it's an R and an L like this, if you're translating it into English, because it's pronounced the same and it looks the same in Japanese, so it's really whatever your preference is. I just think it makes more sense to go with the very original use of a term in a lore like this, where, you know, the lore bounces back and forth between terms, you know, just for consistency's sake. There's no reason to make it Dizolus. There's no reason, you know, or so it's like you might as well just keep the original for consistency. Okay. Yeah, so never doubted for a second. Wonderful. Flamboyant landing, that's not really an adjective you would really apply to landing, so, you know, I changed that a little bit. Even in the translation notes on the cutting room floor, the very first time Raja speaks, it says, "Oh boy, here we go." Raja makes a lot of puns, and it goes, it's really interesting. Definitely look at the cutting room floor, part 4, which has that's where this conversation is. And in the prototype version of this game, a lot of the puns are translated literally, and obviously they don't really make sense in English, but you get a sense of what, you know, the original intent was. So I try to use the original intent, and but you know, make it in like colloquial English. What does he say? Oh, he just says it's raining machines. So figured he would say that. You know, he's supposed to be weird, so he would say it a little more strangely and kind of speaks in jokes. So you're a real Dazorian. You're a real idiot. Just, you know, changing it up a little bit. Yeah, and then, as you see in the game, this is his home, too. So, I mean, he'd be pissed about that as well. Yeah, for some reason, Rika was like, is anything wrong? Like, obviously something's wrong. Yeah, and Ren wouldn't be able to identify this as someone's house, so he would just call it, like, a little structure. Yeah, horns, cat ears, whatever. And yeah, we know they have cats on Dozoris, so from Meow and Meow's progeny. A tall mechanical doll. Tall rhymes with doll, so yeah, which is a karakuri puppet in the Japanese version. That's what Raja is calling him. So this is the closest you know, English way to say that. Yeah. So, you know, that works too. And a girl with horns, like, these are ears. So, I don't know. I just think it's a little bit more interesting to say, like, her ears are scary because they're, like, unnatural or something. And he's a priest. Yeah, and instead of requesting him use the right language, I think it was just makes more sense for him to use a declarative statement like, you know, I am an android. Let's see. So this pun, Kiza no Otoko, is a smug, flashy, pompous person, but it's also making a play on the word kisai, or machinery. And Otoko means man as well, so that's a pretty good. That's the original. That's the final translation in the English version, which is pretty funny. They did a good job with that line. Calls him an old fart. I don't think Rune would say that. Yeah, so a lot of times, let's see. Ugh. It's gonna be too confusing to narrate the translation notes on Cutting Room Floor, so just have that open and follow along if you want. Yeah. So basically, I just built on what was here already, and just did my best. So instead of having him like speak in weird rhymes like half the time, I figured it would make more sense for him to speak like that for the whole, you know, exchange. Rika's pretty polite, so she'd call him a gentleman maybe instead of just like an old guy. Yeah, a good time for a little joke here. Yeah, Rudy's saying, "What shall we do?" question mark. You know, just doesn't really fit his character. And her saying, "Hey, old man," you know, that doesn't really fit her character either. Yeah, and all the last names, for some reason, were cut out of the English version. So, yeah, his full name is Suraja. Yeah, so that's kind of like a Weird Al, you know, reference, kind of, but not overtly, so whatever. He's weird, you know, he's a weirdo. So, when in doubt, just have to say something weird. And Dazorian humor is not like Pullman humor. So I added that. We're getting kind of frustrating. Let me check the stream here. I just got a weird message about it reconnecting. Looks fine to me. I don't know. I don't stream, so hopefully this will all turn out. I should probably take more frequent breaks. I'll probably stop after this and then fire it up if I want to do another one. Oh yeah, so back to our notes here. Yeah, so just changing up his dialogue a little bit. Thought it was a funnier way than saying, you know, I'll overlook the destruction of the temple. Yeah, they call him an old man a bunch of times in the original script, like right after another, so, you know, just finding different words for, you know, this dude. Reiterate why they have to take with them. Yeah, changing his line a little bit from a very practical choice. Okay. Yeah, instead of saying "let's go," you know, he should address Raja and be like, "Okay." That thing about nicknames. Yeah, instead of saying the skies, the Landale really did travel all around, you know, Algol, so, that was just a cooler way to say that. Oh yeah, and I wanted to... I thought there's this lying thing with Dazorians doesn't really come up in Phantasy Star 4, but I think it's fair to reference that, for fans of, you know, 1 and 2. That's a big part of, Dazorus figuring out when these guys are lying or not. Yes, I added that. Okay. I don't remember what the NPC dialogue here is, but yeah, so I mean he is a priest, so he's pretty high up, so I figured he would, you know, lead services of, you know, the Eclipse Torch Church or whatever they do. So thought it'd be funny if he, you know, yeah, obviously he would like try to be telling jokes, you know, while he's like trying to preach or whatever. Same. Here comes this famous non-joke. Otherwise, all this dialogue is the same. So this is how I handled this joke, and I'll tell you why. And that little pause, that is in the game. That's not a glitch. That is in the game on purpose to try to, like, accentuate the punchline. So the prototype English version handles this pun literally by saying, "It's a feeling I have, and by the way, the sick are patients." So that is, oh shoot, it doesn't, it's got the line in Japanese, but it doesn't have it in English. That's kind of strange. Let me use Google Translate real quick to see what the Japanese spits out as. And we don't really need it to be accurate. Or be that coherent, I should say. Google Translate. No, not Aramaic. Detect language. Kanja. By the way, if you are sick, you kanja. So the word kanja is in here both times, and it's in kanja. Oh, okay. I don't have a way to show you this. Kanja the first time, half of it is in katakana and half of it is in hiragana, and the last kanja is all in katakana. So I don't know what that means, but you can look that up, I'm sure, really quick. So I know I looked up this joke to figure out how to handle it the best, and that's all I could really come up with. So instead of, patient, sickness, be patient, or you'll be unhappy, basically. And Rika does laugh like that, but I thought it'd be better to explain why this joke is terrible. My wife, an English teacher, says puns are the lowest form of humor. Not that we don't appreciate them, but... And that's a joke. The native Dozorian, it's funny in Japanese, but it's not funny in, English. The sick are patients. Yeah, and again, some more character interaction. This is a good time for it. Obviously, he's going to be able to think of more puns. Okay. I'm going to take a break here, because now we're on Dozoris. We're going to get